Hey everybody, Hans Hernke here. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm with a very special guest. It's her first Zoom interview with me. This is my first Zoom interview on my channel. I'd like to welcome a very talented actress. Her name is Kate Watson. She's been in Lifetime movies. She's been in independent films. And I worked with her on Bridge of the Doomed 3 years ago, and that's how we met. And I've been supporting her work ever since then. So, Kate, welcome to my show. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, I'm thrilled we could finally find the time to do this. So,
me too. Yeah. Me too. Everything good? You ready for 2022?
Can't believe it's already 2022. Yeah, very ready. It was a nice, relaxing holiday season. I bought a house, so I'm in my new house, which is a great way to kick off the new year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's been a nice, mellow, quiet, trying to stay indoors and safe for the most part before we kick out some work. But yeah, a good holiday season. How about yours? How was that?
It was very good too. Went to Disneyland, had some time with the family. Always have to have the magic of Disneyland at Christmas time. It's always so beautiful there.
It is, yeah. And do they only do a limited amount of people there still, or is it?
Yeah, it's all reservation based. So if you can't get in that day, you can't get in at all. It's not like where you could just show up and just go. It's all limited now. But it was still a little crowded, but it was the holiday. So yeah, it was nice to go and see everything before they take it down. And it's kind of weird, like December just kind of flew by.
I know. It's always that last month of the year that
when we were kids, December went by really slow. We had that anticipation for Christmas to come, and now it's already gone. And now we're what 11 months until Christmas again. It'll be here before you know it.
These years get faster and faster, do they not?
Yeah. They do.
Yeah,
they do. Well, diving in, how did you get started in our entertainment industry? What got you started as an actress? Did anything inspire you to get going? Would love to hear it.
Well, interest in being an actor when I was really young, I guess, really stemmed from starting as a dancer when I was young. That was kind of my segue into loving being on stage. I studied theater in school, in college as well. And then I moved down to Los Angeles right out of college and thought that film would be a nice segue. I've always been someone who is obsessive about film and movies and everything that's on a screen. And it wasn't the right time for me. Hollywood back then, it was a bit of a different landscape. It was prior to the Me Too movement. So it was a very different place for young women to be. And so I put those dreams and aspirations on hold for a little bit. And years later, almost a decade to the day, I moved back to LA after a business career and decided to get back into entertainment, kind of right around the Me Too movement. And it was kind of a perfect time for me to dive back in with a very different attitude towards the business.
Yeah. Was there any actress or filmmaker that inspired you to get into the industry at all, and you kind of follow their lead?
A little bit. I mean, I think that when you find your passion on stage, that's just, I think I try to I tell people every book report I try to turn into a performance rather than a written report. So it was one of those things that just, you love performing. But as far as people that inspired me that I loved, Julie Andrews, Sound of Music. My mom was a singer, so I loved any musical when I was growing up. And then also Gillian Anderson from The X-Files. Such a huge show in the 90s, as you know. I'm sure you probably also watched some X-Files, perhaps, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that role for a woman back then was it broke the mold. You didn't really see a lot of roles for women who were just very professional and strong and incredibly intelligent and kind of badass. And so I remember seeing her and just going, wow, this is a character that I can relate to in that way. I relate to a lot of men as well, but in that in particular really kind of made me think maybe this is something I should really take seriously.
Yeah. And speaking of badass, I mean, you were a total badass character in Bridge of the Doom. I know I had just one day with you, but the stills that I saw from Michael Sue, like especially with you in the cave, like you just look fantastic on screen, and I can't wait to see it. What was it like working on that film? Even though I was there for one day, did you have any
You only there
experiences
for
that?
one day? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, I think no, 2 days. I had to. The second day, I had to leave really, really quick. I had to drive all the way back down to Vegas to catch my flight back to Burbank.
Yeah.
But Michael threw me in like one or a couple more scenes in the beginning of that day. But there was
Okay.
just that was it for me. But you look like you had a lot of adventure up there. And was there anything memorable or particular
Oh,
that was on
I
set that
mean,
you?
that whole I loved shooting that film because of that character. And for context, the character is a sergeant in the army. And I actually, to prepare for the role, I went and trained with some ex-Delta Force for a full day. And I kind of, of course, I wanted to learn how to handle weapons, but I really wanted to get into the emotional and mental mindset of how someone like that really acts in regards to the people around them. And there was a woman that I was interacting with during this training, and she kind of really helped guide and influence the character of Sergeant Hernandez. Very all business, very, close to the chest with her emotions, and stood her ground with people. So that was really influential for the character. But yeah, that cave scene, we were shooting in that cave until the cold hours of the evening, and it was a bunch of water to get into this large cave, which was just cool to begin with. But yeah, it was kind of a real wow moment when I was in there, and a fight ensues inside of the cave. I won't give anything away, but but it was a real badass moment. And yeah, there was one night also, because we were shooting in the desert in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
I think it got down into freezing temperatures. And I remember our director, Michael, just going, yeah, I think we should probably cut because your lips are turning blue and you can't speak anymore. Yeah, it was really frigid and cold. So
yeah, you could see I think in the trailer, guys could see your breath or something like that. It was that's how cold it was.
Yeah, it was really cold. And here all of my guys that I was with, they were all great, but they were all bundled up underneath their army getup, and I had nothing under. I was not or prepared at all for any of that. So, but that adrenaline gets going, and I just really became that character. But yeah, we had to call it a night. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other thing that helps too is when you put the uniform on too. It helps channel your character that you're playing, and I find that too is like when you put a suit on, your posture, everything seems different about you because you have the uniform on. And I noticed that with you on set, you were walking in such a demeanor that a military person would walk around. Even when the cameras weren't rolling, you were walking around like that. I noticed that. So it's good.
Yeah, I'm a very physical actor, probably from being a dancer, but yeah, the physicality of a character, it's so important, because I think that is, so much of what a character is not what they say. It's what happens here and how they hold themselves, and those nuanced things that influence who they are very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And going into your Lifetime movies as well, the ones I've been watching, you always do a very, very fantastic job in all of them.
And you're so supportive. Thank you for watching them.
Oh, you're welcome. And the wifey too.
Thank you to her as well. Yes.
Yes, we enjoy watching them. And your latest one, like, I felt your frustration in your characters. Like, no, this really isn't what's happening. And there were so many like twists and turns that I didn't even see coming.
Yeah. Wow.
When you did your first Lifetime movie, how long ago was that, and how did you get involved in the Lifetime? Because I noticed they used a lot of the same actors now in all of their films. Yeah. How did you get into that circle of being in their films?
So I think my very first Lifetime film was probably about 4 years ago. Yeah. Kind of when I stepped back into the acting world, and how, yeah, they use a lot of the same actors, because a lot of these films are shot very fast and very, very quickly. quickly. And I think when you're creating a film and you have a week to prep or so, you want to know that the people that you're going to use can execute a lot of pages in one day and move very quickly and kind of be able to take on that amount of pressure to execute.
Yeah.
And from a tone perspective, they're also kind of set, they're very formulaic with the tone of what Lifetime is, those types of thrillers. And so I think once you do one, it kind of influences if you understand that tone and if you can execute what that brand really entails. So although some of them kind of have a different cadence to others, like this last one I felt was kind of one of those true Hollywood thrillers, which I kind of love, that has a really emotional heartbeat, and not all of them have that. So I think that's the same filmmakers, and usually, the network will have to approve who's in their films as well. And so once the network knows you and knows your work and knows that you can deliver, then you're kind of in that fold of people.
Yeah, I noticed that with the tone of the film was definitely a lot different from the other ones that I've seen.
Yeah.
And did you study any people or characters that have memory losses or go through things that a situation that character went through?
Yes, I always try to do some sort of research during the preparation for anything that I do.
Like the Bridge of the Doom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was probably one of my films that I had the most time to prep for, compared to a lot of these other films. I might have, give or take, a week or two, or a day, if that happens as well, where you're on set, a day later. But with this particular film, I watched a small documentary about a man who did in fact lose his memory. And what really hit me about that, although a lot of memory loss is not necessarily from any sort of injury, that's very rare. It's either from stroke or from surgery. But this man who had lost his memory, what really just stood out to me about him was just this sense of anguish that he had. Yes, the frustration, but just the immense sadness for missing out on those moments with his loved ones. And I think for me, there were moments on set where it was a great cast, a wonderful female director and DP. And although we were moving very quickly, it was always important just for that sense of anguish to always be carried through, because there were scenes that were painful, because I really could feel Grace's pain of not being able to memorize, remember those memories with her daughter, especially. So,
yeah. And then the scene where you're in the hotel and you see the words written on the mirror with the lipstick, and you were frustrated. It's like, oh man, poor girl.
Yeah, on top of losing her memory, she's being accused of being this adulteress, and so she's also kind of questioning who the hell she is in many ways. Was she someone that she thought, she's different than who she woke up as,
Yeah. And that guy, he total creep, very creepy. He played it off very well. It's like, wow. It almost was like, when I say Lisa, it was like, oh, that guy is just so annoying. Like, he was bugging you all the time, and he played it off really, really well. So, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely an interesting process to play a character like that, and then when you're done with the film, you have to let it go, And I've played characters that are pretty dark, and you have to learn to let it go and learn to turn that switch off and on. And I commend you for doing that when you're on set.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'm not a method actor by any stretch. That to me seems particularly dangerous.
Yes.
But I think that, for the most part, I just have a lot of empathy for all the characters I play, whether they're good people or not so good people, and most incredibly imperfect. And so I think that sense of empathy, I can just kind of, okay, let them go, put them to bed. They are who they are. And and then you just have to remember who you are. There's a little part of you that's always in there,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have any Lifetime films on the horizon this year that you're going to be doing?
don't so far. It may or may not have been my swan song. So we'll see. There's some projects that are in talks right now, so we'll see what's to come. But definitely different types of films. I love thrillers. I love watching thrillers personally as well. But we'll explore some new genres in 2022.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
This work that comes to you, do you get a lot of it through your agent, or it's just work relationships like, hey, I know this actress is really good, we should have her read for this character, or is it like a mixture of both?
It's a mixture of both. Certainly people who I've worked with before, or people who, have seen my work, will certainly reach out to me and my agent. And then for some new projects, streaming shows that are coming up, then that will all come through an agent for sure. Yeah, so it's kind of a twofold thing. I think it's important that every actor has an agent. They are that person that you want to be your mouthpiece, but also that person who's tied into the industry in a way that you really can't be yourself. And to help kind of guide you in that way, in a partnership. So that's important to have. But absolutely, I mean, I think that I certainly hustle and get my own work in many regards, and meeting people is a big part of that as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
I hope to work with you again someday soon when the right project comes up.
I know, because I think we only had that one scene together. That
camp.
Yeah.
That was it. And once it comes out, it'll probably just go on my reel, and I'll put it up on my YouTube channel and all that good stuff too. So,
yeah.
Going back to 2020, when the world shut down, I ask a lot of people in the industry this: was there anything that you learned to adapt or adjust in your career during that time when the world would just kind of stood still?
Yeah. Well, I think that speaking for myself, probably like many people, I think it puts things in a different light in many ways about the things that we take for granted, our day-to-day. It's very easy in this industry that is very unpredictable, with very high highs and low lows, and kind of this hamster wheel of always looking for your next job, to not just be as present as we sometimes can be. I think that I'm most present when I'm a character on set, but to just be in my daily life, I think being present and just being very much in the moment and appreciative of the things that, that we have day to day, it can be tough when you're always kind of, hustling and trying to, again, find your next project. So it put things in perspective a little bit more for me, just about what being present in my day-to-day means. And then also just, I think loved ones are their life, those friendships, the families, the relationships that you have with each other. And how can I be more involved in a community of people? How can I be of service to people outside of what I do to give people joy and serve people that way? What else can I do? And so that's something that it kind of opened my eyes into the importance of wanting to do that. And then on top of that, not being able to work made me kind of also find another avenue of creativity, because I needed an outlet for that, since I couldn't be on set for a while. So I started writing, and that's opened up another creative vein that has been closed for a while for me, and gave me some perspective into the world of writing that I've really learned to love. So, yeah.
Is it writing like a short script or feature script?
Right now it's a feature. I see it in my mind as a limited series. Everything is about television right now, so that's where it lives in my mind, but I'm writing it as a feature. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I totally understand what you were saying too. I went through the same thing. It's creative people are always trying to find a creative avenue to keep their minds occupied and off the doldrum that we had for 6 months. And I made silly videos with the little kid I was watching, and that kept me going. And I was hoping and praying my show would come back, and it came back in September. So there was a lot of people learned a lot of things during the 6 month period, and here we are today. We're still here, and everything's good.
And how precious, our our health is as well. I mean, that's something too that, you know, I mean, I did shoot several projects during the pandemic, and which is, you know, I mean, that's just a whole nother added layer of responsibility on set, because sets are so stringent with being safe. But yeah, it's just being more mindful of how we can pay attention to safety overall. So
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
One question I also had for you too was, anybody that's coming out here to become an actress or a filmmaker, do
Mhm.
you have any advice you would like to give to somebody that's thinking about, I want to pack up to go to LA
Mm.
and be in TV and movies? Do you have anything that you'd like to tell them?
Well, the first thing I would say is, why do you want to? What is the real reason? I think that there's a lot of people who have an idea of the film industry. I know I did, you probably did as well. And then once you get into the film industry, you realize it's an industry, it's a business, and
Hmm.
it's not perhaps the way that a lot of people glamorize or idolize the business as being all about the craft, all about the art.
Hmm.
Um, there's going to be frustrations and heartbreak around the fact that at the end of the day, this is about making money. This is about business itself. And you have to understand that it's not going to always feel like perhaps you want it to feel. You've got to be okay with being uncomfortable. So that would be my first suggestion, is get really clear with what is your why.
Hmm.
Um, and then also, you know, I think that ultimately this is your business. If you're going to get into the industry and want to make a living off of this business, then you have to act like a CEO, and you have to run your service, whether it's acting or writing or directing or anything, like you're running a business. And you have to be really savvy at learning how to be a good business person. There's the art side and the creative side that is very important, but it's not going to serve you in creating a longevity in, as far as making a living.
Yeah.
So you have to really get good with doing that. I was fortunate to learn that skill set in a business for quite some time, and learning those things gave me the ability to actually jump into this world and have that acumen and know how to kind of navigate the world of business along with the craft and with the art side. So it has to be a good marriage of the business as well as the art as well to be successful, I believe.
Right.
And then thirdly is just get really good at it, and um, always be in a state of wanting to learn. Always be someone who is going to be brave with your acting. You're someone who is going to absorb things from other people, learn. You're going to be in a state of growth all the time. There is no, I'm fantastic, I'm here, Hollywood, cast me. It doesn't work like that. You
Hmm.
are going to have to be always in a state of growth and be open to that and work really, really hard
Yeah. And you have to be in it for the long haul.
for the long haul.
For the
Yeah,
long
it's a
haul.
marathon, and there's going to be setbacks, and there's going to be, like I said, heartbreak. But if you really love this and you're really willing to do the work, then it's there for you. But you have to really, really, really want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I always tell people, don't wait for the doors to open, start opening them yourself
Oh
as
yeah.
well. You know?
Nobody's going to help you. That's another thing. You're going to make friends in this business, whether they're actors, actors that you've worked with maybe on a set. Do things for free. You're not going to make money for a while. If you're brand new to this business, do any and everything for free. If it's
Hmm.
inside, your wheelhouse of virtues, then work for free. Do the work. Start working on your craft with other filmmakers and people. But nobody's gonna reach out a hand and help you out. This is 100% up to you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people expect people to discover them or help them out, and it doesn't work that way. Those stories are not real stories.
Yeah. No, it's very well said. Do you like all the sets that you've worked on?
Yeah.
Has other jobs on set got you curious? Hey, maybe I could try doing this someday, or have you jumped in and done another job on set before?
Not yet.
No.
Very curious too. Yes, writing, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm writing right now, but yeah, I mean, down the tailpipe, directing, show running. that's a big job, and there's still a lot to learn about it. But yeah, I think it's in my wheelhouse. So we will see.
Cool. All right. And in closing, do you have any goals or aspirations that you see yourself doing this year and beyond for yourself?
Well, I'm really, truly, and I mean this when I say this, I'm so grateful every time I get to work. I'm so grateful when I get to align myself with other people who love to do this as well, because then the work is even better. But I think, yeah, I think it's a time of leveling up in the sense of I want to work on projects that that really move people, that really move me and the people that are watching. So projects that are challenging, projects that have great stories and great characters that help transform people. And that's those are the goals. So big aspirations to make great art, I guess.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna come to you because you're a fantastic actress and your work ethic is on point. I really enjoyed working with you, and I really do hope another project comes up that we get to work together. And I'm so glad that I was able to interview you finally today as my first Zoom interview on the Hans Hernke Variety Channel. Yeah, thank you again, Kate, for taking some time to talk to me for a little bit today.
My
Really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
You're so kind and you're so wonderful, and I'm proud of you as well. You work super hard. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
And anybody that's curious checking out Kate's work, the links will be listed down below. If you're also new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the notification button below for more interviews, more stuff coming up. Kate Watson, thank you so much again for your time. I really appreciate it. And let's do another project soon.
Let's do it. I look forward
All
to it.
right.
All
This is
right.
Hans Hernke signing out.